Hey, InspireChurch. I hope you're having a great afternoon, great evening on Deep Dive Wednesday. I'm so glad that you're here. You know, it's times like these where I was beginning to think about what would be my message for Deep Dive, and normally I would take a point and then we deep dive that point. But this time, I talked about levity at the very beginning of my sermon, and part of it was because I was joking around with Pastor Clint, called him Pastor Pikachu, and was kidding around with that. When we got done after that, I asked him, what do you guys think I should deep dive on? Because normally I'd go upstairs and that's where I would just start preaching off of my heart and off of the notes. And they said, you should be talking about levity, talk about levity. And I thought about one person that uses that word more than anybody else that I know of that uses that word in the vernacular. His name is Pastor Roger Archer. Now, a lot of you know, and maybe some of you don't, that Pastor Roger and Tina are some of mine and Lisa's best friends, if not our best friends in the entire world. I'd be careful with that because I'm a lot of people's best friends. You know what I'm saying? And they are my best friends. But really, Roger and I have the longevity of this relationship for him to be in that category in my life and me in his life as well. And I know you have relationships like that that mean so much to you, that are crucial. There are people that you call when you're at your top and people what you call and when you're at your bottom. There are people you feel like you can humble brag with them without letting it get to your head. And because if you were to say that to anybody else, they might think that you're being prideful, and not this relationship with Roger. Roger has been my closest friend for over 10 years, longer if not. And I'm very, very grateful for the journey that God has given me and people who've meant so much to me and my family and my wife in our lives. But the one that I wanted to highlight the most at this time was with Roger, because we're always joking around and talking to one another. So I really want to introduce to you from Motion Church all the way in Puyallup, many campuses. Roger, you got what, 5 campuses now or so on and so forth. You'll clean that up for me. But I'm so grateful that he's joining us here, everybody, on Deep Dive Wednesday. My boy, Pastor Roger Archer. Come on, welcome him, everybody.
I'm so glad to be with you guys. And, you know, I've always said that if I didn't go to our church, because everyone knows how much I love our church and love our people, but if I could just pick one church on the whole planet to go to, it would be InspireChurch. I would go to InspireChurch in a minute.
There was a little bit of the drum roll. I was waiting.
On the front row taking notes, learning from the MOG, Mikekai, my boy.
It's good to have you, Roger. What you doing today? What's your day like so far?
Well, today was my date day, and so my wife and I went for a walk that turned into like a marathon jog, because she's like motivated to be fit, and I just wanted to be like this social, just chill, walk along the waterfront in Tacoma. And this one person started walking by us and walking kind of fast. And Tina says, "Oh, no, you didn't." And she's like, quick walking. I'm like, "Oh, no, 5 miles." We do this. This person, I'm waiting for them to turn off, and they don't turn off. It's 5 miles.
Oh, no.
Crazy.
So have you got your Olympic race walk style going? You know, like like your hips going like that? You got that going on?
Yeah, the swaggering of the hips is a little embarrassing at 55, but yes, I got that motion down.
It's good. Hey, Raj, you know what I love about our relationship is, and I know a lot of people can relate to this, when it's kind of hair down, hats off, just be you, right? How important is that right now to people who are right now sheltering in place and feeling the pressure from the outside, which creates internal pressure? And what does the word levity mean to you with all of that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mike. Very, very insightful too for you to ask that and to observe that. I mean, obviously you would get it because you're super bright and super intuitive. That's what I always have loved about you. You know, I think that in this culture today that we live in, image and projectionism has been such a moniker of everyone's soul. You don't really see the real person. You see what they want you to see, because anybody can be on stage for a little while. But now that everyone has been locked down and locked in,
right,
all those facades have been chipped away. And now just the real us is starting to come to the surface. And what we're finding is it's not overly attractive, right?
Right.
And so this absence of being able to be genuine at all the points of our life up to now are kind of paying a negative dividend, because now we're having to come to grips with who we really are. You know, and what we've always said is, and you and I have always held this true, that who you are when no one is watching is who you really are. Mm-hmm. And now the whole world is having to come to grips with that. And so I'm finding that sometimes what my mentor, Bert Smith, told me is coming to play. He says, don't believe all the good stuff nor all the bad stuff because you ain't that good or that bad, right?
Yeah.
So somewhere in the middle there, you have to be able to laugh at yourself. You have to be able to give yourself a pass. You have to be able to give other people a pass.
Right.
And right now it's super critical. You know, as Proverbs tells us, a merry heart does good like a medicine, but a broken spirit, what? Dries up the bones.
Right.
And so I think right now, it's super important that we get in touch with who we really are and be able to laugh a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So what has it been like for you the last 6 weeks straight? What's it been like? Highs, lows, a little bit of lows?
Yeah, I think Tina is reevaluating the marital commitment. She said,
It's a covenant. You can't reevaluate that.
No. I said, have you ever thought about divorce? And she goes, oh, no, not divorce, but homicide. You know, because for richer, for poorer, until death do us part. So not divorce, but homicide. No, just joking. It's been tough, right?
Yeah.
Because you're used to coming and going, and now you're just staying.
Yeah.
And you just need someone to like go for a walk for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
and give you a break and some space.
Yeah, because in real life, people go to work for 8 hours and for 10 hours. And when they come home, they've had that break, you know what I'm saying? And they fulfilling purpose and doing things and getting work done. And when they come home, then you re-engage. But now there's a whole engagement process where there's not so much of a disengagement. It's engaged all the time, trying to be able to navigate this time. What has been working for you during this time?
Oh, that's a great question. I think having hobbies that are specific enough to give you a departure so you can have a reentry. And so having a specific thing that you go do so you can depart, even if it's for a little while, just to take a breath, to take a break, where you're not walking all over each other maritally, and then come back with the reentry, even if it's just for a short amount of time. So I have some hobbies. Tina and I have some specific hobbies, and we have specific departures, and then some specific reentries.
Well, what is your specific hobby?
Okay, so I like to play pickleball. It's a sport. You have to Google it. It sounds super like
because
non-athletic.
Pickle.
But
pickleball.
But I'm a very I play at a very high level of pickleball, so I go do that. Tina works in the garden. She goes and does some flowers, so she gets out of my space, and then she comes back in and
out of your face. Did you say out of your face? Oh no, you said out of your space. My bad.
Out of my space, you kid. Yeah.
So pickleball. So you've been playing pickleball for years, and I played tennis for a minute in high school. So I bought a net, like at your advice, and I got 4 paddles and a whole bunch of balls. So just got in there one day. Let me tell you, from this civilized little plastic ball with a big handle thing, and all of a sudden it got game on. We were talking trash. I was rushing the net. You're not supposed to. So what? We're gonna make our own rules. So like slamming it, it was like so much fun. I got a lot of aggression out. I think what I'm missing from my life is competition. So basketball brings out competition. So I love competing. I love going body on body. I love trying to see if I can take somebody, stop somebody from trying to score on me. There's that competitive thing that's missing, right? And so the pickleball thing just solved it for a very short period of time. But about a week ago, Lisa told me, she says, you need to go out of the house. You need to go, And she said, you got to go to the beach. I hadn't been to the beach in probably about maybe one time in 4 weeks. From the very beginning of COVID, I went surfing one time, beginning of COVID. After that, for about 4 weeks, Raj, I didn't go into the water. I didn't realize how much I lived.
Wow.
I live 5 minutes away from the ocean. Just get in my car and drive to it and get in the water. She told me, you need to go to your cousin. So I went to my cousin's. He lives on Lani Kai. We went on one-man canoes. Yeah, beautiful. One-man canoes, and the two of us went out. And I got to talk story with him and minister to him, but really what it did was it ministered to me. For that 45 minutes where we were just paddling and just talking, the water was so blue, it was low tide. It just refreshed my soul, and I came back and everybody could tell in my house that there was a difference. Now everybody in my house knows when I need it. They know, what's wrong with that? All of that. And so I went, and I was so glad. So he said, cousin, you got to come once a week. Once a week, you got to come down here and just be with me in the ocean. And I'm like, yes, I need that. And I'm wondering if people are trying to find that moment. So I want to encourage everybody to find that moment where you can actually go away for an hour and just be alone with the Lord, or be alone with of somebody that provides that kind of relationship and friendship with you, because we all need it. We all need it.
Yeah. And plus, I think, like Pastor Wayne always taught us back when we were like kids. Yeah, Pastor Wayne Cordero. You need to oxygenate your blood. And that physiology is so critical, because our blood, if it's oxygenated, helps our mind think, and we think more clearly. But we have this absence of oxygen in our blood because we're not cardiovascular in our day-to-days, right? We've been how many people have like gained weight over this thing, right? There are people gain some weight. Me too.
Just a little bit.
That shirt doesn't fit. Not supposed to fit like that.
I'm wearing a baggy shirt on purpose.
I got an extra large today.
I decided not to wear black.
And so
we can't hide it.
We can't hide it. But we have to oxygenate our blood so that we can think clearly. But if we don't have a high level of oxygen in our hemoglobin, then we just physiologically are going to respond less favorably.
I think a lot of people are taking that advice. If you notice, all the gym equipment is sold out. There are no bikes at Kmart and Walmart.
Right.
So my friend owns a CrossFit supply company. He says they're on back order for 2 months. Once everybody went into this COVID, a lot of people decided that I needed to take care of my body and my brain. I've never seen so many people walk the loop where I live, just walking this 3-mile loop. I've never seen so many people walk as they're walking now, even with their kids, families taking strolls. I think, who told me yesterday, the other day, they went to the beach and they walked the whole beach, and they said you couldn't believe they'd never seen that many people walking the beach, because people just need to get out, and people realize they got to get into nature. They got to get out from sheltering in place, because it's so important for us to take care of not just our body, our spirit, our soul, but also our brain. And when we take care of our body, we're actually taking care of our brain most of the time, right?
100%. Yeah. And I think that's why some of the political leaders have kind of missed the emotional and mental health aspect. Trying to protect us physiologically, they've missed the emotional and psychological, and they've kind of overshot. And with this overshot, they've missed this. Come on, mental health is no joke. No. Especially poor mental health. You want to talk about pandemic?
Right.
That's the pandemic that no one is talking about.
Yeah.
Mental health is so critical. And so taking care of both, one feeds the other. Physiologically, you feed we feed our physiology when we're taking care of our emotional needs, when we're taking care of it physiologically.
Absolutely, 100%. We've got a really, really close friendship.
Yep.
And
really close.
One time, like there have been times I've called you. There are times that you've called me.
Yep.
A lot of it is light stuff, levity, and then there's stuff that was heavy.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be good for them to hear what friendship really is. Remember that time?
Oh, no, 100%. So a lot of people that sit in the number one seat, and I'm talking CEOs of organizations, leaders of families, leaders of businesses, leaders of organizations, sometimes stress and pressure will catch them unaware.
Yeah.
And what is it? Is it Ecclesiastes? Is it Ecclesiastes that says, feel sorry for the person that falls down with no one to help them up? Right? Because in the middle of the ocean, when you fall off the boat, is not the time to learn how to swim.
Yeah.
You want to be building those friendships early on. And about it was 7 years ago, we were building one of our campuses. It was like a $10 million project, and we had bank rigmarole, had a problem with our builder. I had a hip replacement. I was doing my master's degree. I had several boulders that I was happening at the same time. And I just had a mental breakdown. I had an emotional mental breakdown. And I started having suicidal thoughts. And I thought, okay, I'm talking to Jesus first. And then there's one other person I'm going to call next to me, Mikekai. I called up my friend Mikekai in the 808, who is quite literally 2,972 miles away, 3 hours away in time zones. And I said, Mike, I'm not doing well mentally. I think I'm having some suicidal thoughts. You said, and by the way, this was about 8 o'clock my time. And this was in daylight savings time, so it was 5 o'clock your time. I must have woken you up out of bed. And you answered number one, you answered the phone. Then number two, you said, I'll be there tonight. You went down to the airport, got on an airplane, flew the 6 hours and 8 hours airport transfer, and you were at my dining room table that night. And I just cried, and you prayed for me and encouraged me. And man, you know, I don't know where I would have gone. And I've told this story. So by the way, this is like, you know, for public knowledge. But if you don't have friends when it's dark, it's very difficult by yourself to find your way. Now, so if you're a person right now that's hearing my voice and hearing this story and you don't have, you know what? It's not too late to start to cultivate. But in order to have a friend, you have to be a friend. You have to be willing to sacrifice. You have to be willing to praise another person. You have to be willing to affirm someone else. You have to be willing to look past someone's fault and not expect them to be perfect and give them some room to be mortal. I mean, it's a gate with a hinge that swings both ways. And I'll never forget that time when you came in and just, you know, it literally meant the world to my family and I, right? Because of what the steps that you took and the seeds that I had planted, it allowed for, you know, that wonderful sense of friendship to intercede.
Yeah, and you would have done the same thing for me. You know, I know you've always told me that anyway. You say, hey, if you ever need me, Mike, you ever need me, I'm coming down. And even to this day, I know you would. You know, you've been very, very instrumental. I'm 30 minutes from
the airport.
Huh?
I'm 30 minutes from the airport, and it's just flight time. Yeah, I'll be there no matter what.
Yeah.
If you ever needed me for anything. And if you weren't a pastor, it wouldn't matter. It'd be the same thing because you're my friend. You're not my friend because we're in ministry. You're my friend because you're my friend.
That's right.
And if you ever needed me for anything, it would just be, hey, you wouldn't have to finish the sentence and I'd be on my way to the airport.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. You've played that role in my life as well. You know, my wife has access. She can call you anytime if I'm getting out of line. My kids have called you, not because I was out of line, but they just needed Uncle Roger's advice.
Sure.
And I'm super grateful for that. And it's basically the testament or a testimony to sowing seed into friendship for years, and also being able to make withdrawals from that, because we're always making deposits, but every now and then we're gonna make a withdrawal from that. And
once in a while,
it's money in the bank. You know what I'm saying? It's at those moments where you're so grateful that the Bible says that there's a friend that sticks closer than a brother. I got two brothers, and we're really, really close. But I know it's referring to Jesus at the same time, but also it's even for earthly friendships that God has given us, that people have to cultivate those relationships, that without those friendships, I mean, you can be winning the world, man. You can be doing all kinds of things, but if there's people that you can't celebrate with or you can't confide in and just share that this is what's going on in my life, and they're going to listen to you, they're not going to be Job's friends, they're going to know when to speak, right. They know when is the appropriate time to come in and when to offer some great advice, and that's the kind of relationships and friendships that are very, very needed during these times.
The other side of that coin, right?
Yeah.
Friendship.
Right.
You can tell the depth of your friendship by the battles you've had as friends. Because if you have friendships and if you haven't had any battles, you're probably not very good friends. Not really.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to tell tough stuff too. You got to be able to say, hey, you're not going to like this, and I'm going to say it. But because I love you, because Proverbs 27:17 says, as iron sharpens iron, so another person sharpens another. And sometimes that iron going against iron creates sparks. And remember when we were on a vacation together with our wives, and we got in this spat, you and I, and it was like so stupid. It was like we were so tired. And
it was hangry. We were hangry too. We were hungry. We couldn't decide on a restaurant to eat at. We got in the car, and everybody was okay, but I wasn't. And I think I was driving, and you changed the radio station. I said, put that back. And then you stuck your face. No, I want to listen to that. I said, no, put that back. And we just went back and forth and back and forth. And our wives are in the back seat going, oh my God.
Awkward. Because you know, like when you go out with friends and the couples start fighting and it's like, oh, that awkward air. Well, you and I were the guys and we were fighting. We're not married and we were fighting. And our wives were like, so it was like 2.5 hours back to the cruise ship. And our wives said, we're going to go inside. You guys go in the parking lot and settle this. And we were out in the parking lot just jawing at each other.
I don't remember that part.
Oh, yeah. Remember? Because we were in the parking lot. And then we both said, we almost kind of laughed at the same time after like talking this out. And I just said, hey, at the end of the day, I love you. And I know you love me.
Yeah.
And you said, I love you too. And then we hugged because there's no coronavirus. We hugged. We went in and had dinner with our wives and like finished our vacation. It was like awesome. So, sometimes you have to have that other side to validate the strength and the steel and the metal of the relationship. Because then it's not going to be fragile like crystal.
No, it gets tested. And we've both have had to go there, even in front of our wives a couple times in love, not just attacking, but in love and having this conversation and considering and looking at different facets of how we're thinking, how you were thinking, how I'm thinking on different subjects. And I think it's been absolutely one of the most life-giving, healthy relationships I've ever had in my life. Because,
me too.
Raj, when you and I and people who are in leadership positions, when you get to what would be considered the highest level of what you do, there's not a lot of people that can tell you no. There's not a lot of people that can tell you no. You have to want that. You want to have your board be able to speak into it, to ask for advice. You have to invite that because normally we won't invite that because there's a part of us that says, I've been here before, not my first rodeo, I got this. But when we get into positions where we get too prideful and we think that we don't need advice, that's the beginning of a slow end or a very quick end. Yep. So I've been very, very thankful and grateful that I've had that with you amongst a number of other guys, right?
Well, whenever we seem to think that we're the smartest person in the room, it becomes dangerous for everyone around us.
Right.
So, we're in this Corona thing right now. Shelter in place, no church. And our Hawaii, California, Oregon, and Washington are going to be the last 4 states to open the church as essential. Because we're the most liberal, anti-church states in the union. Yeah. Well, right now, all of our statistics are like so laughable. It is nonsensical. And so I felt like the Lord gave me a date that we were to reopen our doors, and they do not coincide with our governors. Our governors puts us to the end of August, right? And I told our church council, I have 8 guys on my church council. I said, guys, philosophically, I need you to tell me. Philosophically, because your philosophy drives your pragmatism. Your why drives your what. Dog wag tail, tail don't wag dog. Philosophy's got to ride and drive. And so I said, guys, here's my question. Do we submit to the government and their edicts to ride this thing out, or do we have a date that we work toward that we feel like God is laying on our heart? You tell me. And I stopped talking for almost an hour. And those 8 guys carried the conversation, shared their heart, shared the black hat, the white hat, the dangers, the must-dos. And we had a conversation that I was not even a part of. I just started the ball rolling and welcomed things that I didn't really want to hear, but needed to hear. Yeah. Right? Because that gives me dimensionalization of my decision-making matrix where I can make not a good decision, not a better decision, but the best decision. So we have a game plan now going forward, and I'm not going to say what that is out loud, but we have a game plan going forward. But it's because I welcomed voices like I would welcome your voice in a minute. I'm not just going to hear the words. I'm going to listen to the message behind the words.
No, it's very important. It's very important that before we go to war, we get a multitude of counselors around us and making sure that we're listening to what they have to say and being able to be part of the conversation. At the end of the day, what is God saying? What are they saying? Now, what do I say? And what do we do from there? And that's one of the huge parts about all this. So in this moment where we're going through towards the middle of this coronavirus, I mean, we're really at the end, but the way that we're handling it right now, it feels like we're in the middle. the middle, we don't know how long this middle lasts, but however long this middle lasts, what is the best advice that you can give, or the best thing that you can tell people about spirituality and physicality and emotional health and laughter and fun? What's your whole, put it all together. What are you thinking?
Yeah, here's the bow. People aren't the enemy is the enemy. And if you can just push back, because some people have thoughts toward other people. Why aren't you wearing a mask? You're being loveless. You don't get it. That governor is so anti-Christ. And there's all these people that are being seduced into a three-dimensional ocular view of the world, where we are being seduced into seeing that people are the enemy, and they're not.
Right.
People aren't the enemy. The enemy is the enemy, right? Ephesians 6:12. For our struggles not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, and forces of evil in heavenly realms. So what I think is like Job, right? What Job said. Job said, at disease and destruction, I will laugh. So now, what was Job saying? Okay, so when I was playing hoops at North Idaho College on the hard courts, I was in high school, and North Idaho College would get all of these recruits that come in and play JUCO basketball, and me and my crew, we'd go out. Our high school team was super, super good, and we would take on these college freshmen, and we'd work them. Well, I had picked this one guy, and I went down and just banged out just on a steal, and I just kind of gave him some trash talk, and then I picked him a couple more times. The dude got so mad at me, bam, he hits me right on the jaw. I mean, he just, I was gonna reach, bam, he hits me in the jaw. And I just flinched back, right? And here's what I said, Mike, because I was a brand new Christian. I was brand new. He hits me in the chin, and I looked at him, I said, is that the best you got? Oh my God, my sister hits harder than you. And then all of his teammates started laughing at him, right? I think no matter how hard this gets, 1 John 4:4 says, greater is the Spirit of God that lives within us than the spirit of the world that is against us. So like Job says, at disease and destruction, I will laugh. We got to think, that's your best shot, devil? I'm still standing. I'm upright. That's your best shot?
Right.
You're a punk. You are a punk with a capital P. And I think that if we can take that posture, that ferocity, like the eye of the tiger, like Rocky Balboa, right? Sylvester Stallone, that's your best. You ain't so bad. You ain't so bad. If we can take that posture, I think that we will smile when we had no business smiling. We will laugh when we have no business laughing. And we will have the joy of the Lord. That will be our strength.
Amen. 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 I love it, Roger. Thank you. I know we could go on longer and longer, and I know people would want us to, but we're not going to. We always want to leave them wanting just a little bit more, right?
Wanting more.
I can't wait till we see each other again, till we golf again, till we pickleball.
Yeah.
This time I'll play you. I can't wait to call you out, bro. I'm gonna get real good. I'm telling you right now. I'm gonna play you with my left hand. Just kidding. I know you're a world-class pickleball player, but
it's okay.
Mike's coming after you.
Whatever
man.
you need. If you need me to play with my left hand,
All right. Game on, man. The next time we see each other, we're gonna pickleball.
Okay. I love you.
I love you too, man. Say hi to Tina. Thank you for Motion Church. Thank you for all you do in the Pacific Northwest and even beyond. All the pastors that you mentor, the friendship that we have. I love you, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Much love.
Aloha.
Shalom.